Okay, hi guys and welcome to the show. Today I'm going to be taking my first look at the new Orient Mako USA. Very excited about that. I want to see what my initial impressions are. Also, we're going to be talking about scratches on watches. I'm going to share my kind of life hack at removing, in my opinion, the best way of removing minor scratches on your watch. And of course, I can't do this episode without doing a wristwatch check. I am in fact wearing my Flighty, this is my Seiko Flighty, on one of my favourite NATO straps from Wrist Candy Watch Club, and also my beloved Submariner. Now, I wear my Submariner quite loose. I do like that loose fit. Now, I'm wearing these two watches for a very specific reason, and it's mainly to do with removing scratches. So we'll get into all of that, of course, after the intro. Okay, welcome back guys. Now, scratches on watches. If you're anything like me, they drive you absolutely nuts. And I know there are many watch enthusiasts out there, collectors, watch aficionados, what's the new term? Watch obsessives, I've heard somebody refer to us. If you're anything like me, you treasure your watches, you adore them, you love them. When you get a scratch or a little ding or a little mark, a scuff, especially when it's new, it drives you crazy, and I can totally relate. I actually addressed this question quite a few months ago in a Q&A session. Somebody asked me, you know, how to best deal with scratches. My first immediate response was, well, you've just got to get used to it. It's gonna happen. These things attract scratches no matter what. I mean, unless you really baby it, but watches are meant to be worn and used. They are, at the end of the day, they are tools. You know, even the most fancy dress watches, at the end of the day, it serves a function to tell time and to be worn. I mean, what's the point of buying a watch if it's going to sit in a safe or a drawer? We've got to enjoy these things, right? But how do we get over that kind of obsessive tendency? Well, the first step really is to kind of let it go and to embrace it. This is my Seiko Flightmaster. This happens to be my cheapest analog watch. But just because it's the cheapest does not mean I don't love it as much as one of my most expensive watches. There's a huge difference of value between them, but I love them both to bits, and I really can't see my watch collection without them. This particular one is what I refer to as my beta watch. It's been in the wars, I wear this a lot. It's very tough, it's a quartz movement. I wear this when walking my dog, Ernie, and it takes the punishment beautifully. But of course, you know, I've dropped it, I've got scratches, there are marks in the glass, there are scratches on the side, there's quite a big dent on one of the side where I actually bashed it into a wall. At the same time, with my Rolex Submariner, this is a very important piece to me. I've been to deserts and beaches and islands and sailing and all over the world with this watch. Sentimental value has increased because of all the memories and experiences and travels attached to it. It's attracted a lot of scratches, and you know, I know that this watch off by heart. It's made it unique, it's added character, and that's how you got to think of it. You know, I'm covered in scars. I used to be a very keen bicyclist, had accidents all the time, and then I've had numerous problems with my lungs, various operations, so I'm absolutely covered in scars. Now, I used to kind of resent it. I almost used to be shy of it, especially at the beach, but now I'm proud because it reflects a life lived, and these scars are reminders of that. And the same goes for a watch. It gives it character. It's what differentiates between this and any other Rolex Submariner or any other Seiko Flightmaster. The scratches on my Flightmaster, all the little dents, I remember the day those dents happened. Brings back the memories, some of my happiest times in my life, just in the park, walking my dog. And I know it may sound a bit boring, but honestly, those were some of the best days of my life, just enjoying nature and being with my best friend. It's what makes the watch yours. I know that when you see watches online and they're all perfect and gleaming and all the rest of it, you've got to forget about that. It's the same with the media's kind of beauty aesthetic that it's perpetually kind of broadcasting and advertising to you. You know, not everybody looks like, is not 6 foot tall with abs of steel, and reality is the imperfections and embracing it, and what makes you an individual, what makes it special, and what makes it, you know, unique to you. It's what gives it personality and character. So my first bit of advice is to embrace the scratches, the dents. I think remembering this advice is always healthy, and just, you know, lets you stress less and enjoy the pieces a little bit more. They are supposed to be worn. Okay, so moving on. Let's say you have a vintage piece like this Tudor Day Date that I picked up recently. This is a two-tone piece. It's a dress watch, right? I wanted to get it back into a kind of gleaming, polished look to its former heyday, and I want to wear it to a formal evening or some kind of event, and I want to make it look a bit better. Now, before you take it to a professional, I highly recommend you try my technique, because if you do take it to a watchmaker, make sure they're obviously a competent watchmaker, they're going to use a machine to brush it. And the downside of that is the abrasion of the machine to get that really high polish actually takes some of the layers of steel off. And this is more so for deep scratches. But for light kind of, you know, normal wear and tear scratches, and just to give it that bit of a gleaming, high polish look back, I recommend Cape Cod. And in a moment we're going to switch perspectives and have a closer look. Now, the reason why you want to do this is because, especially on vintage pieces like this, collectors look for over polishing, and you can actually tell when something loses its hard edge, sometimes the curve. I'm very lucky that when I bought this, it has got minor scratches. It's a used piece, right? But it hasn't been professionally polished, and you can tell if you run your fingers on the edges, it's still quite sharp and crisp like the day it was made. It's in very good condition, and that's why, you know, that's why I jumped on it. But also what made me really take to the piece was that it wasn't over polished. That's going to affect resale value. You're going to lose money. Serious collectors have a very good eye for this kind of thing. So you've got to be careful. Generally, there are two finishes to a watch case. There is the high polish finish, which you can see on the side here, and on the top there's a brushed finish. Can you see here? It's brushed, it's more matted, and on the side this is polished. Now, in a moment I'm going to share my two recommended ways of polishing these different styles of finishing yourself. So let's switch perspectives now and take a closer look. And here we are having a look at two watches. I found two examples to demonstrate a brushed surface. Here we have this beautiful mid-size Marathon, and it has pretty much fully brushed case. Now I've chosen this deliberately because this is a vintage piece. So obviously we have the two watches. What else do we need? Well, we're going to need some masking tape. We're also going to need watch tools. These are spring bar removal tools. Some cotton buds, or as my American cousins say, Q-tips. Also some paper towels. You also need some of these plastic gloves, and you can buy these pretty much anywhere, so I'll take two out. For the brushed surface, we're going to use just a regular, this particular one is from Rite Aid. This is a heavy duty scrubber. You want to make sure that it has this green layer on top of it. And then the special magic formula, which is Cape Cod metal polishing cloths. Now these can be bought on Amazon and on eBay. We're working with stainless steel today, and you can actually use it on the gold parts as well of this watch, because this is a two-tone obviously. And you'll notice immediately the smell. Guys, if there's any fellow Italians out there, you'll notice the smell is a lot like Pandoro. Put that right here. So let's put on the gloves. Now we're ready. Two-tone here. We're going to work with the high polish section first. I really want to kind of brush this up a little bit. You will want to remove the strap, because we don't want the chemicals getting on the leather and mucking up the strap. To the other side. Now this is quite fortunate. This is a vintage piece. Don't really tend to do these in modern watches. This has drilled lug holes, so it's very easy to pop these out. There we go. So let's have a closer look at the watch now. As you can see on the top, there's a brushed section at the top, and then polish at the side. I want to work on this side today. I want to bring this up to a little bit of a better polish. Get your trusty knife. So we're going to take a little bit of masking tape, break off little bits, and we use these little bits to cover the brushed section, because when we apply the Cape Cod, if we apply it to the brushed section, it's going to, let's just do that a bit better, it's going to remove the brushed finish. Now I use masking tape because obviously sellotape is going to be too strong and we don't want to damage the watch. So we're just putting that across there. You get your Cape Cod, you open this up and it comes, now you don't want to use it all, it's very moist, it has the chemical all over it. Get some scissors, cut a bit off, you don't need that much. Now get the watch. So we're brushing this segment and I've protected the back with a little bit of masking tape. You'll see that it's starting to remove some of the steel, and the pink is becoming discolored with a kind of black. That's a little bit of that's the chemical reacting to the steel, and that shows it's working. You want to do this for a good couple of minutes. As you see, it's becoming more and more discolored, it's removing more. And every so often just get your tissue and wipe the excess gunk off. You'll see the polish is starting to come back. We can see a bit more clearly the reflection of the camera. Doesn't really matter too much that that gold there is exposed, because that is high polish as well. Give my hands a quick wipe. Wipe off the watch. Remove some of this stuff here. Wipe the excess off there. Really pleased with that. Look at that. Obviously you can see some little dings there, some little marks. Those are too deep for the Cape Cod to get rid of. You will need professional polishing on that. But like I said, when you have it professionally polished, they're brushing with the machine actual layers of the steel away, and it decreases the value, especially if it's a Rolex or a Tudor day date like this, or an Omega or something that is worth, you know, a luxury watch like this. Now leave that to dry for a little bit. So how would we get a better finish on a brushed case? Well, this has a NATO strap. This is a military diver. This is from Marathon, and this is a really good example of a brushed finish. It has a beautiful brushed finish. Now this is a new watch, so I haven't actually got any scratches in it, but I'll show you what best to do with brushed surfaces. Now if you see closely, if we can get this watch camera to focus, if we really get in close there, you can see there are kind of lines that indicate that the direction of brushing. So here, if we see here, this case is brushed horizontally this way, and this is crucial to a brush surface. So let's say there was some scratches here. What you need to do, you get your scrubber, you cut a little bit of the green section off. Just get it in your hand like this, and very carefully. Now I don't have to put masking tape on this one because there's no polish section, so I'm not going to worry about this. Let's actually see if we can find a blemish on here. It's very difficult to see because this is still very... you can see a little scratch down here, very minor, but if we just do it in the direction of the brushing like this, eventually. Now this, depending on your scrubbing brush, it might take a little bit more, might take a little bit less, depends on how abrasive it is. But generally, you know, after a little while you'll remove any kind of scratches and job done. Anyway guys, that's my little guide for removing scratches on brush surfaces and polished surfaces. Let's take it back to the studio. Okay, welcome back guys. Now as you can see, very easy to do. You can do it in your own home, something you can do yourself, and of course affordable too. Now at the end of the day, I realize a lot of you watch experts probably already know this stuff, but I thought it was worth repeating for the newcomers to watch collecting. Anyway, let's move on now. It's a question I get asked a hell of a lot, my opinions on the new Mako USA. So of course I'm definitely going to look into it. So let's switch perspectives now and have a closer look at the new Mako USA. The reference number is EM6500FB, and I believe it comes in, there's a white dial version with black bezel, There's also a blue dial and blue bezel version. And then of course there's this one. I've taken off the bracelet. As you guys know, I'm a NATO strap fanatic, I guess. I do like occasionally leather. I've got to say, for comfort, security, all the rest of it, can't beat a NATO strap. So, as you see, I put it on the custom Urban Gentry NATO strap with the logo of the show on it. Just thought very fitting for this. So what are the main differences? Well, this is an exclusive version for the American market. It's a bit of a shame. I don't understand why they didn't do it, not even for their own Japanese market or the European market, but this is exclusively for the United States. So I got this from Long Island Watches, and they have exclusively the new Orient USA's in stock, and I believe they're selling out very, very fast. You can see why it's such a bestseller, because value for money, it's already, they're improving on already a cult classic watch that really has outstanding features for the money. So what are the differences between this and the previous version? Well, you might have noticed already that the hands are different. We have this really broad sword hand on the minute, and this arrow-headed, really broad arrowhead for the hour, and I really like that. I think it's quite sharp and modern and contemporary, and also because of their fatness, because of the width, they've got a really good spread of loom there compared to the well, actually they're not that much bigger than the original, but I definitely a welcome change, and I think it's a subtle kind of upgrade there with the hands. Also we have sapphire glass, as you can see on the proudly displayed on the bracelet. And last of all, probably the most subtle upgrade is we finally have solid end links. So if you do like that polished bracelet, but now we have solid end links, it doesn't have any of that kind of tinny sounding. It's very solid. And I must admit, the bracelet is good for the money. We've got a nice fold over clasp there and push button deployment. You guys know the only bracelet I really love is the one on the Submariner, and everything else I love to wear on a NATO strap. Anyway, so those are the main differences. We've got the same movement, we've got the same... Oh, and I forgot to mention, they've updated the loom. This time we have Nomoto Luminova, which is a pigment that provides an extra bright, longer lasting loom. Let's actually switch to a loom shot now and have a closer look at that. Okay, hi guys, and as you can see, just look at that bright green loom. It's really sharp. It's just so clear. It lasts for absolute ages. In fact, there's even reflections of it in the inner bezel there. But really outstanding loom, and just look at that minute hand. Very easy to read. The design assists in differentiating between the minute and the hour, which is really great. Also, we got that bright loom pip at the 12 o'clock on the bezel, which is just as responsive as the rest of it. And as you can see, it's a really nice even spread. See that little seconds hand ticking away. Fantastic loom. It's definitely going to rival the Seikos. So outstanding, absolutely outstanding. Right, let's take it back to the studio. Okay, welcome back. So as you can see, excellent loom, and already, you know, I mean, the original had great loom for the money as well, but I think actually Orient are probably trying to compete with the notorious Seikos, which is a bit strange because they are, I think, owned by the same parent company. But regardless, they are rivals, if you like it or not. Now, dimensions are all the same. I'll just quickly go over dimensions. So we got a 41mm case, which is really nice. Fantastic for my wrist especially. Quite thick, coming in at 13mm. Lug to lug, we got a nice 46, which is a really nice size for smaller and larger wrists, and then of course 22 for lug width. I would have preferred 20. I think it's a little bit overpowering for the watch, but hardly noticeable. We got the date change here is done by button. It's not a helium release valve, though it gives the impression it is. And we also have drilled lug holes. I'm not sure if that was on the other version, the previous version I reviewed. Anyway, regardless, it's very useful. Let's just look at the finishing of the case. It's done very well. I take my hat off. I mean, this is for $179. I think it's a bit better than the SKX. I guess we're gonna have to have a duel between the SKX and this. The bezel also, I gotta say, is better than the SKX. It's very solid. It does sound a little bit tinny, but there's no play whatsoever. I mean, this bezel is better than watches I've seen at a grand. The only thing is the glass, the new Sapphire sits a little bit lower. I think it's thinner than the, so there's a little bit of kind of, you know, it's a shame it doesn't sit flush. Again, we have this bizarre insert that has indentations here. I think that's purely aesthetic. It doesn't serve any function, you know, assisting it turning. Let's have a look at the dial. We have the beautiful applied logo, as always, water resistant. 200 meters, of course, water resistance there. Lovely day date, framed very cleanly. And I believe the language alternates from Spanish and English. Lovely little dash of red on the second hands. Really fat, nice, clear, applied loom markers. And they're square rather than round, as the previous version was round. The non-USA, I believe. On this, we have a screw-down crown, of course. Again, beautifully done logo. I really like the Orient logo. It's quite... a little bit of heraldry, kind of gives that classy look, I feel. It's as close as we can get. You can see down there, Japan movement. So it is all in-house as always. And guys, I've got to say, at this money, at this price range, the performance is phenomenal. On the back, I believe they've also changed slightly the back here. There's two dolphins. I haven't removed the sticker. All the details there, very nicely done. Screw down case back, obviously. Lots of room to put a NATO strap. Just, you know, it's built for NATOs. A really solid, all-round, good beta watch for the money. And if this is your first automatic piece, this is a great place to start. But the amazing thing is that even if you're a connoisseur, this is a fantastic addition to any collection. Inside we have the Orient 21 dual movement. Fully automatic self-winding. It doesn't hand wind. It's not hackable, of course, which is a real shame. But at this price range, you know, just can't have everything at this price range. But I mean, you're getting Sapphire Glass. You're getting a really solid kick-ass watch that is very nicely finished for the money. And everything just functions beautifully. So the movement is, the exact movement is the caliber 46943, which is Orient's own in-house movement. It has a nice, solid power reserve of 40 hours, which is absolutely fantastic. It's all stainless steel, of course, as you'd expect. Comes with a 1-year warranty. We got a day date. We got a lot of positives in this watch. Anyway, let's have a quick wrist shot. So here we are, and as you can see, 41 millimeters, wears very, very nicely. A little bit tall, and also added to by the NATO strap, but you know, if you're wearing it on the bracelet, it's going to sit a little bit better. For the smaller wrist, absolutely fine. As you can see on my minute, tiny, miniature little girly wrist, it's absolutely fantastic and very, very comfortable. Really solid feel. I can feel the rotor winding. Some people may be annoyed by that, but it's you know, it's expected at this price range. Summing the watch up, it's a really solid, well-made. You're getting a great specifications there, and I think it does warrant maybe a rematch with the SKX, because it'd be interesting to see where it stacks up now. It's this particular version's been upgraded. Downsides, well, I don't really like how that crystal sits. I'm frightened this is going to catch. Also, the date change, the day change, sorry, button here, I think is a little bit. Would have been nice without it. However, I can't really find much fault with this watch. At this price range, you really can't complain. A solid first watch, or if you want to add something, a reliable beta watch, really is outstanding. I mean, you're getting an in-house movement and all the rest of it. Sapphire and all the upgrades for a great, great price. I mean, it's very difficult to fault this watch. The only other thing, you know, I would have preferred the 20mm lug width here. I think 20mm is a bit more subtle and smarter. I have to have 22mm for my Navitimer, and it suits the Navitimer because the Navitimer is big, but this, you know, for a 41mm watch, I think 20 would have been, it's a little bit overpowering for this size. Really nitpicking now. It's a great, great watch, absolute pure class for the money, and if you're on the fence about it, well, don't sit on the fence. Get one, you know, because they're gonna sell out. You know, I wanted to get the blue in for review. Actually, I even like the white faced version, but the white dialed version, but they sold out so quick. But I mean, understandable. And I guess that leads on to the final little negative, is that why it's only available for the American market. I just do not understand. I'm sure they'd love this in Europe and even in Japan. I mean, where the watch is made, I just don't understand. But anyway, guys, a great watch. Let's take it back to the studio. Okay guys, so I'm going to leave it there. Thoughts, queries, questions, opinions, all the rest of it, please down in the comments below. I'm really eager to hear what you have to say. As always, I really do enjoy reading all your comments. Quick thank you to Long Island Watches. Of course, I'll add a link down in the description below. Be very interesting to see how quick they sell out. I know there's a lot of demand for this watch, and you know, it's understandable. It's a terrific watch, especially for the money. Very competitive indeed. Anyway guys, please don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it and found it useful. It really does help. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll definitely catch you in the next one. Okay guys, ciao.